We will get started in just one moment. This will be well worth the wait. Just a second. Okay. We are live. The $1 million marketing hack that you are probably not doing. Let me make sure my volume is working. Yes. Okay. If you're tuning in live, or even if you're watching the replay, I really encourage you to really stop everything else and be present with yourself, with me, as you watch this video. Because this video, if paid very close attention to, will radically change your life and the way that you serve people and the amount of people you are able to serve. But if you're just kind of listening with one ear and you're scrolling on your phone and you're talking to a bunch of people, it's not going to land in the way that I intended to. So if you can be present with me, you can do that by just simply breathing as you listen. Also, you might want to watch this a couple of times through. The $1 million marketing hack that you're probably not doing. If what I'm about to share with you, if it lands, if it's like, oh my goodness, please comment down below and let me know that it spoke to you, and let me know how you're going to integrate it in your business. Okay. Now, one last thing that I want to point to before we get into the actual hack is, let's say we have to lay the foundation first. Okay. And this is a lesson that I learned after investing over $30,000 in my own business coach. Okay. I learned that the most, and this is not the hack, okay, this is the foundation, so bear with me. I learned that before you can stack anything on top of before you can really begin to build anything, you need that foundation. And the foundation, in order to build a wildly successful business, is conviction in yourself. I went to these masterminds over the past year, and I was surrounded by 7 and even 8-figure earners. And what I realized is these men and women, they don't necessarily know more than I do. We've read the same books, we've watched the same videos, we've gone through the same courses. The only thing that is different most of the time when you are comparing yourself to somebody who's absolutely crushing it, 9 times out of 10, the only thing that is different between the two is a deep conviction in self, where the person who's absolutely crushing it is so incredibly confident that they have so much energy, so much life force, so much ambition to consistently show up every single day, to consistently share their message, share their offer with more and more people. They truly believe in themselves and they know they are here to serve. So they do whatever it takes to create the impact, to get to the outcome that they wish, compared to someone who only might have 50% of the confidence they have. It's not like, okay, if you have 50% of the confidence this other person has, it's not going to equate to, well, you'll make half the amount of money. No, the person who has 50% more confidence is going to 10x how many results you're able to produce or create and achieve, because the person who has more confidence is able to just go harder for longer and is willing to fail more often. And it's not even failure. They're willing to take life and go all the way. Okay, so that's the foundation. You have to have conviction in yourself before you can integrate this hack and actually produce some results from it. Okay, so can you see within you that you are immensely powerful and capable and deserving of the vision that you have for yourself? Can you see that you were actually placed on this earth at this specific time to share your unique message? Can you see that? If so, you'll have so much drive, you'll have so much confidence, so much courage to implement this hack. So let's get into this hack. So transparently speaking, I have not generated $1 million. This tip, or this hack, if you will, was given to me by someone who's generated multiple 7 figures. I personally generate anywhere between $15,000 to $30,000 per month, which is really far away from 7 figures. But I felt that it was important for me to be transparent. Okay. So the hack, this is what it is. Most people don't do this. The people who are doing this are reaping so much. Okay. The people who aren't are just constantly hitting their head on the wall. Here's the hack, and then I'll explain it. The hack to generate more money with your business and eventually surpass 7 figures is to give people what they are hungry for. To give people what they are hungry for. So let's make this practical, okay? Consider for a moment the people who you want to serve. What are these people starving for? What do they want in their life? And begin to communicate that you have the ability to offer, to give them exactly what they are hungry for, to put the steak on a plate and give it to them if your people want steak, right? I like to kind of think about how I use the app Yelp. If anyone is a Yelp user, you're familiar with the app, right? I use it for finding restaurants because I travel all the time. I'm always in a new location and I love eating good food. So I'll go on Yelp and I'll search restaurants near me. And sometimes I'll be in a mood for a burger. I'll be thumbing through that. And regardless of the hot dog 5-star place or the brisket barbecue 5-star place, I'm going to pass it. I'm not even going to acknowledge it. But once I see a burger place, even if it has 3 stars or 2 stars, I'm going to stop and at least kind of investigate in it. And the same thing is true for people who are scrolling on social media. They just continue to scroll past things that are not going to give them what they are hungry for. But if your post, if your video, if your quote, if your message gives these people what they are hungry for, they will stop, they will be intrigued, and they will want to learn more from you, okay? So what are people hungry for? You have to go deep here, because we as thought leaders, humbly speaking, we as especially people who are really deep in spiritual practice, and you've read the spiritual texts, and you've seen past, or you've seen through many of our human egoic desires, where we are hungry for an amazing relationship and great sex. We are hungry for having a 6-pack abs. We are hungry to be rich, right? These egoic desires. Many of us, we've seen past them, and we've seen that they're actually, they're not the most important thing. However, the only way to really see past them is to walk through them. It's not to kind of have the realization that they don't matter. It's to achieve them and be like, okay, I've done that. It's not really all that important, right? You can't see that money isn't everything if you're broke. You can only see that when you've made a good amount of money. You're like, you're right, money is dope, but it's not everything. You can't see how having an incredible body is not everything until you have that body and you realize, oh my goodness, it's not everything. because the true lessons in life, they're always learned by experiencing. You do not learn them by reading. Okay, you can read story after story after story after story about people who have so much money and they say money isn't everything. And it's not, but you will not wake up to that until you've generated your own abundance, your own wealth. Okay, so for the spiritual folk who have seen through these egoic desires, it's almost like many of us are trying to convince people of what they should want. And that never works. If we're over here saying, hey, you should want this, people aren't going to pay attention. Okay, you can't tell somebody what they want. You can only kind of reignite or amplify that which they already want. So what do your people really, really want? What are their dark, deep, egoic desires? And how can you give it to them? There's two ways to give it to them, okay? You can be very direct, or you can be indirect. I'll explain both of them. I personally prefer the indirect method, and I'll explain why in a moment. Now, the direct method is, let's say, hypothetically speaking, you come to the conclusion that the people who you serve are hungry for, let's say, weight loss, right? A very direct piece of content or marketing material is, I will help you lose 10 pounds in 3 weeks without giving up your favorite foods. And then you just kind of go on about, do you ever feel tired about not knowing what to eat? Do you look at other people on social media and feel envious, wishing that you can do it? Do your friends eat the same food as you, but they don't get overweight? Oh, and you can just kind of go into it however you want. But the direct approach is kind of starting and stating, this is what I do. The indirect approach is what I prefer. And it's telling a story. It's kind of reflecting on your past self, because the people who you're going to serve, odds are they are who you were 2 to 3 or 5 years ago, right? So an indirect approach is telling a story that is clearly demonstrating how you were hungry for what they're currently hungry for. And you went through these trials and tribulations, and now you have them. And now that you have it, you feel inspired to share it. So if you want to learn more about it, DM me, listen to this guided meditation, or join my private Facebook group. And the indirect is all about building trust. And I think this is paramount in today's culture, because with media today, everyone's selling something, right? So it's really important to be able to build trust. And once you've built trust and you've given away amazing value, and you've proven to this person that you're actually an amazing human being, and you really do care about them, you care about their well-being, then you can present your direct offer and say, hey, if you're ready to lose 5 pounds, I know we've kind of been building this relationship for a few days, a few weeks, a few months, a few years sometimes. Here's an opportunity for you to work with me. This, by far, based off of my experience, has been the most effective. Okay, it's kind of incongruent with today's title, because it can be beneficial to periodically throw some direct messaging in, because there's thousands and thousands of people who follow me. So I'm going to kind of just throw different approaches and then be patient as I reap the rewards. However, you can look at my Facebook post where yesterday I did a very indirect offering where I shared a story, and I said, if you want to experience what I experienced, right, just comment down below meditation. I'll give you a free meditation. And we've had like 15 or so people, and at least 1 or 2 of them will be paying customers or clients of mine within the next 2 months. That means from one post, I'm going to generate over 5 figures. And that's the power of indirect marketing, and the same thing can be true for direct marketing. It's just that, again, on social media, people are constantly offering things. So there's a lot of people who are just jaded, right? Rightly so, as they should be. Okay, so taking a couple breaths. Coming back to something I pointed to earlier, which is we as thought leaders, we, especially those of us who are committed to the spiritual path, we can see through these egoic desires, right? And we know that what you really need is not an extra $10,000 in your bank account every single month. Like my offer is, hey, I'm going to help you, if you're a health or spiritual coach, generate $10,000 in 3 to 6 months, depending on your starting point, or your money back. Okay, that's the offer. But I know that the $10,000 is just a very small piece of what I'm going to provide for you. I'm going to provide you social freedom, confidence internally, the conviction in self, the ability to take care of your health and know how to move and eat and think, right? And plan and visualize. But if I marketed that, hey, I'll help you feel better, nobody's going to pay attention. Nobody will pay attention. So there's this really, really powerful story that illustrates the importance of giving people what they want. And I heard this story, I believe it's called the hand in the garlic story. Okay, so here's how the story goes. This little boy was given a dog for Christmas. And he was just overjoyed. And a couple of weeks later, he asks his father, hey, can I take the dog to the park? And it's kind of a foresty park. And his father hasn't let this little boy go by himself because he wasn't really sure if he could trust them. But he's cultivated a lot of confidence in the little boy. So he said, yes, go take the dog to the park. However, please make sure, son, that the dog doesn't run loose through the woods because we don't want the dog to come home with ticks. Okay. And the little boy was like, yes, absolutely, Dad. So he takes the dog to the park, and the dog got loose and went through the woods, and he got ticks all over him. And the little boy was freaking out. Oh my goodness, I can't bring my dog home. My father's going to absolutely kill me. He's going to take away my dog. He told me I can't let this happen. So he's trying to think about, what should I do? What should I do? What should I do? So he went to his friend's house who lived close by and talked to his friend's mother. Hey, how can I get these ticks off of this dog? I have to bring this dog home to my father, and the ticks have to be gone or I'm going to be in big trouble. And the mother was like, feed the dog garlic. Feed the dog garlic and the fleas will just kind of go away. Okay, so he runs to the closest store, which was really close by, and he goes to get garlic, and he tries to feed garlic to the dog because he knows this is what's going to help this dog. And the dog is not wanting to eat the garlic, so it's constantly turning its face. No, I don't want this. And then he's freaking out, right? So he runs back to his friend's place and asks his friend's mom, hey, this isn't working. And she's like, well, what you try to do? I try to give the dog garlic. Well, you can't try to just give the dog garlic. You have to wrap a piece of ham around the garlic, and then the dog will eat it. He's like, oh my goodness, thank you so much. Runs to the store, grabs a piece of ham, wraps the ham around the garlic. The dog eats it, the ticks go away, and then the boy lives happily ever after. And it's a story that illustrates that you have to give people what they want in order to really provide them the services, the insights that they need to live a fulfilled, successful, abundant life. Okay, so I want you to consider, doing some self-inquiry. Consider everything you've purchased from a coach or a course, and realize that everything you've purchased, at least probably 9 out of the 10 things, right? All of these things have promised a specific outcome. They've given you so much more than that, so many more insights and realizations that far surpass whether or not you obtain the specific outcome, but they promised the specific outcome. Okay, so a simple way to identify what that specific outcome is something that I've shared on a live recently. It's the Venn diagram of marketing success. Okay, that's the new name of it. I don't know what I called that last time. The Venn diagram of marketing success. So you got two circles, right? One circle is what I love to talk about and what I love to do. The other circle is what do people want? What are people hungry for? And whatever overlaps, these are the things that you share. These are the offerings that you bring to the market. These are the titles of whatever content you are writing or speaking to. So again, quick overview. The $1 million marketing hack that you're probably not doing is giving people what they are hungry for. What exactly do your people want? So that when they're scrolling through social media, like, whoa, yeah, that's exactly what I want. So they are intrigued, they reach out to you, and the two of you live happily ever after. You get paid, they get an incredible result. Okay. A couple of things I definitely recommend start reading. I almost said the word obsessively, because you do need to be really passionate about your success. Start passionately reading marketing books. Okay. If you want my top 3 marketing book recommendations, just comment down below the word book and I will send you my top 3. Also, a couple more things before we wrap this up is I have an awesome free community where it's like 1,600 plus people who are all heart-centered leaders, who are service providers, who are on the same mission to help people radically transform their life, their health, and their spiritual coaches. It's a free group. If you're interested in joining, just comment down below the word community. I'll send you an invite. We do free community calls where we talk about business and marketing, about spirituality and self-discipline. It's so cool. It's so rad. I'd be happy to invite you. And if you are interested in my coaching, okay, where I help health and spiritual business coaches generate $10,000 per month within 3 to 6 months, or their money back, depending on where you are, how early you are on the journey, really determines whether it's going to happen in 3 or 6 months. If you're interested in learning more, just comment down below the word freedom and I will send you more information. If you enjoyed this at all or got any insights, please comment down below. The greatest thing you can do for me, for the world, quite frankly, humbly speaking, is hit that share button. If you enjoyed this, and if you got any type of value, that means somebody else probably will. So please, from the bottom of my heart, click that share button. It's the only way this message is going to get out, is through awesome people like you sharing this message. If there's anything else that I can do to serve you, don't hesitate to just send me a message. If you're watching on YouTube, just email me. My email will be in the description down below. Thank you all so much. I love you unconditionally. So talk soon.